Hi, it's Sherry from A Quilting Life. Today I'm here to talk about half square triangles. Half square triangles are some of my favorite blocks. I use them in a lot of my designs and projects. And if the half square triangles are accurate, it's going to increase the accuracy of everything you sew with them. So today I'd like to show you my favorite method for creating perfect, accurate half square triangles. You'll start out with two different squares of fabric. These squares of fabric should each be 1 inch larger than your finished half square triangle. So, if you're going to make a 4-inch finished half square triangle, you'll want to start out with 5-inch squares. You'll start by placing the two squares right sides together. And then you're going to use a tool to draw lines. Now there are a couple of ways you can do this. I really like to use the quick quarter ruler, which is a ruler that measures exactly 1/2 inch in width. I can place it on my fabric, I can draw two lines, and I have my stitching lines drawn and ready to go. If you don't have this ruler, you can also use a regular ruler. If you're going to use a regular ruler, you'll want to place the ruler on the diagonal, draw a line from point to point, and then draw another line on either side of that line that's 1/4 inch away. So this tool really saves a lot of time. We're ready to draw the lines so that we have our stitching lines marked. I line up the quick quarter ruler on the diagonal with my fabric squares. Now normally I use a sew line pen to draw these lines, but so that the lines will show up better for the video, I'm going to use a Friction pen. Friction pens are great because once you iron them, the lines will disappear. So I'm going to trace with the Friction pen on either side of the quick quarter ruler. And now I have my two stitching lines. I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and stitch on both of these lines. Okay, I've sewn on each of my two drawn lines, and now I'm going to take an acrylic ruler. I'm going to line it up with the corners of my squares, and I'm going to cut the squares in half. My stitching lines will be on either side of that cut, and what I'm left with are two half square triangle blocks. But I'm not done. I'm going to trim these up to exact specifications so that my blocks will be perfect. For trimming the blocks, there are also a number of choices that you can use, but I really like the Fit to Be Quarter 6.5 inch ruler. I'm going to line up the lines on the 6.5 inch Fit to Be Quarter ruler with my seam allowance. And the reason I like this ruler so much is because it has markings at every 1/4 inch, which allows you to make more block sizes than some of the other rulers on the market. So I've lined up the 4.5 inch line with my stitching line, and I'm going to trim. Just a few pieces are left on the cutting table, but that's the difference between a more accurate block. When I open it up, I will have a perfect 4.5 inch block. I can trim off the little dog ears off of each side. And repeat the same thing for the other half of the block. Now I have a couple of blocks that I made earlier, and I just want to show you that if you notice the back, I press them open. A lot of people will tell you to press to the dark side, but then you have to worry about having a lot of bulkiness in different situations depending on what type of project you're working on. So I generally press all of my half square triangles open so that it doesn't matter and eliminates bulk in my sewing. I hope this half square triangle tutorial has been helpful for you. You can use it with all different sizes of blocks, from small blocks to medium-sized blocks to large blocks. You can also use this method to trim leftover triangles that you might have from other projects. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be back soon with another video tutorial. Thanks so much for stopping by.